Ex-wife who cheated and abandoned our family years ago shows up at my door with another man's kid, wanting to be a family again. I slammed the door in her face, respected them and would always be thankful for what they did for me during my divorce. I don't think it was their place to let Angela back into my life again. We got into a bit of a fight, but they told me that I was the one who was out of line here and was being selfish by not giving Angela another chance. They told me that they had done their due diligence and were sure that she was a different woman now and deserved to be a part of my daughter's lives, even when I reminded them that she had signed her rights away. They said that it was insulting that I believed they would put my daughters or me in harm's way and accused me of ruining their lives by being too arrogant to accept that they needed their mother. It's been a few days now and I don't think I was out of line or selfish because I've thought about this a lot. Ida for not giving my ex-wife a second chance at being a mother? Update 1. About a week has passed since Angela showed up at my door with her son and recently I found out the truth about her relationship with my parents. It's honestly so disturbing that I don't even know where to begin and I'm still struggling to process it myself. It's mind-boggling how all of them have betrayed me without batting an eye. Apparently not only were they the ones who had told her my new address but they had been in touch with her all along. I had cut her out of my life after the divorce but they hadn't because they believed that she would come around at some point. They wouldn't talk much, only once a month maybe. But that was enough for me to feel betrayed. Sean had made Angela sign away her rights after she was sold with the divorce papers and had given her an ultimatum to either abandon her family and make a new life with him, or she could keep in touch with her kids and fight for their custody, but that would mean that she would have to leave him behind. It had been a difficult choice for her to make, according to my parents. But she ended up going with Sean, to make a new family with him, instead of sticking with the family that she already had. My parents said that Angela had contacted them shortly after I filed for divorce to tell them about her situation and asked them to help her because she wanted to still stay in contact with her kids privately. She had told them that she had been backed into a corner by both of us and either way, she wouldn't be able to see her kids. Because I had been fighting for full custody with supervised visitation rights while Sean had instructed her to abandon her kids altogether. Even if she did fight for custody and went against Sean, the chances of her getting partial custody were slim, given the circumstances of our divorce, also her history of having issues controlling her temper. So fighting for custody seemed like a waste of her time and resources. There was a very real chance that she could lose both Sean and custody of our daughters in the end, if she decided to fight. And that's where my parents came in. She met them in private and practically begged them to let her stay in touch with her daughters and help her out by acting as the bridge between them. She was aware that once she signed her rights away, she would not have any visiting rights, let alone supervision. But my parents would, and they planned on exploiting that. They successfully did so and fooled me for ages by going behind my back to allow Angela to meet our daughters. And they did so because Angela's situation struck a chord with them and they realized that they couldn't, in good conscience, keep a mother apart from her kids. Stabbing their own son in the back for years, however, didn't hurt their conscience one bit. They told me that whenever I would drop our kids off at their house, they would invite Angela over and let her spend time with them. My kids never told me that they were meeting their mom because my parents would bribe them with toys and candy, so they would keep their mouths shut about this. Anytime I would ask them about what they had done at their grandparents' house, my daughters would tell me that they played games with my grandparents and their friend. I always assumed that they must be talking about my parents' actual friends whom I already knew, but apparently, that's what my parents had told my daughters to refer to their mother in case I asked them about their day. I couldn't believe that my daughters had been lying to me as well, but I forgave them because they're just kids. And also because Angela and my parents had really manipulated and intimidated them into keeping quiet. After I learned the truth from my parents, when I asked my daughters if they had been meeting their mother behind my back, they started crying and told me that they couldn't tell me because they would be punished by God if they did. So Angela and my parents must have really drilled it into their heads that there would be dire consequences if they told me the truth, and that's why they had been so secretive and vague all along. I also felt like a terrible father for never asking my daughters which friends of my parents they were spending time with, because it just as easily could have been someone else. Someone more dangerous than Angela, and I never would have found out. But I'm going to put an end to it now since I'm getting a restraining order against all of them. I already have written proof of this, since my parents sent an email to me to tell me the truth, a couple of days after my fight with them. They had believed that the email was going to make me realize how desperate Angela was to remain a mother to her daughters, without losing the alleged love of her life. And that would somehow make me forgive everyone involved, but all that it did was make me realize that everyone here was a nasty little liar and I couldn't trust anybody anymore. It's also ironic how Angela signed away her parental rights and had to resort to meeting our kids in secret like it was a crime. All because Sean didn't want her to have any contact with her previous family. And he was supposed to be her one true love, but now, even they were getting divorced, and all that turned out to be for nothing. They even had a son together, but according to my parents, Sean wanted nothing to do with her or his kid now because he had received a job offer and was moving away in a couple of months. Angela had started working again recently and their son had started kindergarten here, so she didn't want to move with him, which is why they had been fighting for a long time. It had finally all come to a head 3 months ago when Sean told her that he was done and he was taking that job and moving out. He didn't have any interest in being a family man anymore because it clearly meant that he would have to sacrifice his own future and happiness just to make her happy, and he wasn't ready to do that. This was all meant to make me feel sorry for Angela, but the only purpose that it served was making me feel like justice had finally been served. I have already spoken to my lawyer and the petition for the restraining orders has been filed. My daughters and I have also had a proper discussion about all of this, and I have told them that moving forward, they will never be seeing their grandparents or their mother again. And they seem to be okay with it for now, but we are still going to go to therapy and try to work things out. Because I'm sure that this is going to be difficult for them and probably has been quite difficult for them for the past 5 years. But this all ends now. Update 2. Hey, guys. Thank you so much for all the concern and support here. I'm really grateful that so many people have been sending lovely messages and blessings to my daughters. My parents and Angela have been served with restraining orders and are supposed to appear in court in a few days. I don't know how they feel about any of this because I have blocked them on every possible platform, and I've also told my friends not to speak to them in case they contact them. I have also amped up the security around my house and have been working from home for a couple of days. I had spoken to my daughter's school authorities and told them about the situation, too. Initially, I didn't intend on letting them go to school for a few days, but I didn't want their education to suffer because of Angel and my parents. So now teachers are supposed to keep an eye on them and not let anyone apart from me pick them up after school. I'm doing everything in my power to make sure that they can't get to us because I'm sure that they will try. So far it's been good, and I'm hoping that after we get that restraining order, they still continue to stay away. Update 3. Hi. So this is going to be a really short update, but we got that restraining order, and for the next 5 years, all 3 of those maniacs are going to have to keep their distance from me and my daughters. Unless they want to face terrible consequences, obviously. I'm still keeping all the security measures that I took in place for a while because the last I saw them, they looked really pissed and I don't want to risk anything. My daughters and I are attending regular family counseling sessions, and I think that we are going to make a lot of progress in the coming few months. We have already made considerable progress. Honestly, all I want now is for my daughters to be happy, and that's it. So please keep sending us your best wishes, we need it.